All right. It's almost like he got done with his speech just in time for us to start the show. Or wherever he was, anyway. Gosh, I hate trying to tell people in our Telegram group that wasn't Trump. But some people are convinced it was. It wasn't him, guys and girls. That was not President Trump. That was one of his clones or doubles. They often did rallies for him, too. But you really could tell the difference in that one. But anyways, go ahead and do some call-outs. I called Mike. Haven't heard anything from him. I did send him the link, and we do have Jeff that wanted to come on also. So we'll get going here. Alberta in the house. Arkansas in the house. Welcome to the show. You're live with Doug. Mike will be around shortly, I hope. People say, why would they use a fake Trump? Oh, I don't know. Maybe he's had 50 assassination attempts. I think he's insulated. Frogonites. He would never be seen in public. There was a real one when he was in Florida. That wasn't the real one. I know, because with the one in Florida, I felt the presence of God. I just felt like some guy walked on the stage then. He never embraced Laura. Trump hugs all the women in his family, all of them, every time he sees them. Just remember that. Central Pennsylvania in the house. Iowa, welcome to the show. Alabama, welcome to the show. 60 attempts on his life. You're right. They're not going to take that chance. Okay. And the clones do great work. They really do. You could see it looked like the end of his nose was going to fall off towards the end. Wisconsin. New Boston, Texas. Welcome to the show. Leesburg, Virginia. Welcome to the show. Big things are happening for the show. We're going to announce some more things tonight. It's just going on. Austin, Texas in the house. Welcome to the show. Florida, Maryland. People are trying to send me stuff. I'm trying to just do call outs for right now. Tennessee in the house. California in the house. Northern Ireland. Welcome to the show, man. Welcome. Ontario, Canada. Welcome to the show. Tobacco, North Carolina. You're live with Doug. Any news tonight? You just seen the news. The Trump lookalike just spoke for an hour and 30 minutes. Massachusetts here. I'm brutal, ain't I? People are arguing with me in the chat. Don't be offended because I can see things most people can't or refuse to see. He was wearing something on his hands that made his hands have no wrinkles. Do you have wrinkles in your hands when you do this? Look at all them lines. He had 0 lines on his hands when he did like this. No lines. One ear was blurred out. It was his left ear. You never could see. It looked like hair, but there was a reason. On his lapel was something shiny down here, like it was a transmitter telling him what to say, even though he was looking at the teleprompter. That wasn't him. He did hug Laura. I didn't see it. I'm a clone. Whatever, bro. Whatever. You want it to be Trump. It's not him. I'd say if you took a poll, 75 to 80% of people would say that wasn't him. Thank you. We love you back. Where we go one, we go all. He would never appear in front of all them wrinkled American flags with gold on the back and have wrinkled pants on. You ever seen Trump wear wrinkled pants before? Oh, you want to just say he had a bad night before he came out and sat down too long? A billionaire wearing wrinkled pants? I don't think so. San Diego, here. Now, welcome to the show. That was Trump. Yeah, a look-alike. I don't know. We're split, but we still can be friends. I love you guys. If you don't agree with me, that doesn't mean it's the end of the world. It's your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion. I'll take your opinion. I'll just give you mine as well. So his brother, no, I don't think his brother speaks for him. His brother's the one in Mar-a-Lago that wears his hat like. Let me take my glasses off like this because he doesn't have the same hairline. And his brother says about 3 words. That's all he's managed to. Uh, you know what I mean? He hasn't said a whole lot like when he was out near the golf course or the car show. Remember, he said like 3 words. When they took pictures of him with Mar-a-Lago, of course he's not there right now. They say that he's in New Jersey. He's somewhere in a bunker. Trust me. You think they're going to let him shoot a missile into the golf course in New Jersey? That's where they say he's at. We can't take that chance. He did hug her. I didn't see it. I apologize. I was on here. I was on there. I was setting the show up. If I missed it, where's Mike? I don't know where Mike is. We talked about an hour at 8:30. We talked, and I said, "Hey, I don't think that's Trump," and he said, "I don't think so either." And then I sent him the link, so he's liable to pop in here at any minute. He hasn't been feeling good, guys, and I'm just giving you the straight up, honest truth. He had to go to the doctors just the other day. They wanted to admit him, and he wouldn't let him. But he was feeling better today, and I asked him how he's feeling at 8:30. He said, "Okay." So I don't know. He might have fell asleep, and God knows the man needs some rest. He really does. He needs his rest. So we'll continue on and pray for him, and hope he's back soon. I think he'll pop here on the show a minute. But we do got Jeff. If Mike don't show up. No big. I don't want to say no big deal. It's a big deal. He's not here. You know what I mean? He's my partner. I watched about 5 minutes speech, and he was talking 2024. No. The real Trump's talking about I'm coming back real soon, and he doesn't give a time and a date. We need Mike, absolutely. He's part of the show. Would you? I can't wake him up. I let the phone ring like 30 times. He didn't answer. So not anything I can do at this point, but pray for him. I don't know where he's at. What else, guys? What else? That was the speech. It wasn't very fired up to me. It went, a little outline of what happened, a little election fraud, a little bit of, talking about Fauci. He makes some wisecracks. Just don't know. I don't know. Maybe he lost power, but I would think his cell phone would ring because I called his cell phone, guys and girls. You want me to call him live on the air and embarrass him? We can do that. Let me see if you can hear it ringing. I'll call him right now. Watch. I want you to know that I'm not the one. I'm calling him. Look, I'm going to use Facebook Messenger and call him. Now listen to my mic. Can y'all hear it ringing? I'm calling Mike. Can y'all hear it? Can y'all hear it ringing? Okay, guys, now you know. Let me get back to here I am, I'm back. But now you know, I tried to call him. And like I said, we just were talking. I hope and pray everything's okay. Like I said, he hadn't been feeling good. Yes, I do too. He's my buddy. I was just down there with him in Carolina 2 days ago. Pray for Mike. Yeah, y'all pray for Mike. Pray for Mike. He needs to get some rest. He hadn't had a good night's sleep in quite some time, from what he told me. So, if it's okay with you guys, we'll move along with the show. Jeff, if you're out there, I sent you a link. Come on in. If you're out there, he said he had some stuff, but tonight was going to be a night. What else were we going to talk about? We were going to talk about the newbie stuff and questions and answers. And Jeff had some stuff. Oh, I was trying to think. I had some other stuff. Let me look real quick, guys. Just bear with me. Not seeing a whole lot of new stuff. There isn't just a lot of stuff on Bitcoin that really doesn't interest me very much at all. So here's Jeff B. If it's okay with you guys, I'm going to bring him in, and we'll go from there. Okay. Let me get this out of here. Let me put you on that one. Has there? Hey, man, what's going on, bud? Cut your mic on. You're muted.
All righty.
I can hear you now.
All right.
All right. Man, what's going on? Talk to Mike at 8:30, and we just called him again. I did it live on the show. People think I'm not trying to, so I tried to call. He's not been feeling well. If he got to lay down and get some sleep, I hope he did get some rest because he needs some.
Right.
But people were arguing with me in our chat because I'm convinced we weren't listening to the real Trump. Some people were. It almost at the end looked like the nose was going to fall off. I think he's deeply insulated, and doubles are out there talking now. He would never appear with the flags with the gold fringe on it, all wrinkled. Secondly, did you notice his trousers were all wrinkled? Trump has never wore a pair of wrinkled trousers. He's a billionaire. He would have told them, he's a perfectionist too. He would have told somebody to steam the wrinkles out before he walked on the stage. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, but.
He said but. So guys, he's going to disprove me.
So during this whole speech, my phone was absolutely blowing up. I asked them when you had sent me the audio whether you thought it was him or not. I asked that question to somebody in the back that was there.
Okay.
And he said it was him. It's not a doppelganger or anything. But the thing with him not hugging Laura kind of shook me a little bit.
They said in the chat that he did hug Laura. I didn't see it. Oh,
did he? I didn't see it.
I didn't see it. I've never seen him hold the podium as long as he has. He talks with his hands. You know what I mean? What I seen was it looked like a pair of gloves that look like hands, because on my hands, I don't know about yours, but I have wrinkles in my hands. His hands had 0 wrinkles in them, and they look shiny.
You know why?
Why?
Remember when I told you about the January 6th with the precautions that Secret Service was doing with the gloves?
What did they do? Keep him from getting any kind of chemical on his hands?
Yes.
Oh, see, I'm learning stuff too. My CIA guys knows all this stuff. He knows the 3-letter agency. He knows.
Did you notice how much security was there?
I didn't get to say. I know there was a lot.
Okay, so a former president gets
about 5 agents
max.
He's got like an army.
Well, there's 3 guys that when this started, I got a text asking me if I can spot Delta. And 3 of them were in civilian clothes. One of them was really jacked. I mean, like jacked. He was carrying a big tube around and just walking around. And I can't get into detail what that tube is. It looks like something you would carry a poster in.
Right.
But the guy in the gray suit, the Asian, let me see how he put it.
Well, from what I heard, it's his Secret Service detail and Delta Force protecting him.
Right. Both.
Yeah, I mean, this guy has motorcades that are longer than the president that the so-called president has. I have pictures of Biden going to Tulsa, and only two people I know that met him at the airport because their child wanted to meet the president. There were the only 2 there to greet him, period. And they said they were able to walk within 8 feet of the limo and take a picture of Biden. The Secret Service would never, ever allow that on a president. You would never get that close, ever. And they showed me the pictures. I'm like, you're right there.
He said the Hispanic guy in the gray suit, 100% Special Activities Division Delta. The three, and he put jacked up fuckers in civilian clothes, and down front is Delta. He asked, because he wasn't watching it at the time, he was doing messages. He asked me if he looked exhausted, and I said, yeah, he did look tired. And then they were talking. I asked him about the flags, and his take is because all of this took place under the corporation, that's why that's there.
Never seen him wear wrinkled pants, and I'll go back and I'm going to look at some other videos, but I'd never seen Trump wear a pair of wrinkled trousers before, ever.
Did you hear what he said about Bob Mueller?
No, but I know he wanted to know where in the hell was the special investigator? Is he even alive? He's trying to send a message at this point.
He said, I flipped Bob Mueller.
What?
He said, I flipped Bob
Oh my
Mueller.
goodness. That's huge.
And then they told me the height of Barron Trump and the height of his son was a Law of War reference.
6.7.
6.7, yes.
Do we know what that is in the operations manual?
I think 6.7 is all means necessary with a weapon attack, and 6.6 is like force protection.
Okay.
You're a troll, Doug.
I think they're referring to another one.
Oh, hey, and can I do a public service announcement?
And you can say anything you want, brother.
I think you're going to love this. So I heard your YouTube message.
Yes.
Earlier about the individual that you didn't want to name.
Yeah.
So somebody else pointed this out to me, and keep in mind, my friend, you have free speech. Defamation of character is a bitch, and you might want to watch what you say.
Okay.
Because my attorney was very interested in that, and they're actually going to do a FOIA request, or not a FOIA request. They are going to do a IP written statement to YouTube to find out exactly where this person's at.
There's a lot of people stealing our content and uploading it for their profit.
Well, I'm talking about the guy who commentates and
yeah.
So,
he singled me out. I have done nothing to. He used to be in our chat, and I threw him out because what he did, and he not only did to my channel, because I went and looked who else he did this to. We were the other night, and he's done it to everybody that's successful. He's only got like 2,000 followers. It doesn't matter, but he's trying to speak, like when we're live, he'll speed it up and slow it down to make us sound like idiots. Do you follow us? Then he's trying to discredit everything we're saying. That probably ticked me off more than the website that I told you about and showed you. And it ticked me off more than people stealing my content and loading it up. He is disgrading me. Do you know what I'm saying? That's definition of character right there. And I thought I read what you understood what you said. I thought they were going to try to sue me. No, I should be trying to sue them.
Yeah.
But at any rate, I'm trying to be really careful. That's why we're not broadcasting on both channels now, just one at a time. And I'm taking back and not using the words anymore that we used to use, so we can keep the channel up for all our great Froganites. But it's you know you're over target when you got people that will spend that much time and money to build a website to debunk you. You have people stealing your content to make money off of it. And also people that want to run your lives and then debunk everything you say live while I'm doing it. So I know we got a lot of attention and a lot of eyeballs on us right now. Lots of eyeballs. And it's only going to get bigger. A lot.
I mean, a lot of what Trump said this evening. There was you have to listen to the message, and he dropped a lot of stuff that is starting. Either this, I'll give you two scenarios.
Okay.
Either 80% of what is being said is true, or he's playing a lot of people. With, I think, the whole Durham thing, that is to ignite the other side. But the thing that got me is when he said he flipped Mueller.
Right.
That and even somebody in his orbit was kind of tripped out when he actually said it.
Okay, I'm trying to keep up with the chat as we go. I just had to send some kung fu dude to mommy's basement. He told me to shut up and let you speak. Wow.
And here's the other thing. There was no video of what Trump coming into North Carolina, which is interesting. You would think that would be a big deal.
Yeah, the airport shots of the plane landing. If
Correct.
he's using his Trump plane, or is he on a military plane, or is he on Air Force One?
Right. Or is he in a different style of Air Force plane?
Right.
And I liked how he talked about Joe Biden tripping up the stairs.
Here's something I heard today, Jeff. It was a military guy, and he was at a retirement ceremony for his commanding chief, where he'd been in the military for years. And he says the guy won an award signed only by the current president of the United States. And I don't know, it's some kind of award, but when he showed everybody the award, you know who signed it, don't you? 1945.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out the significance too of why he brought up D-Day, Normandy, because tomorrow that date is significant. I think it's the 1 year of Durham. The same date as the D-Day, because he said 77 years ago. And tomorrow, I believe, is the 1 year anniversary of Durham. So something's probably going, I would guess that was a signal, but the 6-7 and the 6-6, that was definitely interesting. And I don't know, did he mention Ivanka's husband at all?
No, not at all.
That's weird.
Like somebody said, disinformation is necessary. Many deep state traders involved, even in our chat.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I was so busy looking for things that weren't correct. I really didn't listen to the speech. I'm going to go back after the show and listen to it all again and try to decode exactly what he said. And there's probably a significance in the 9 flags that were standing behind him. I did notice all the American flags that were behind him were wrinkled on purpose.
Right. And and I know it's the flag in North Carolina, but it was kind of interesting how they had 1776 folded outward.
Yeah. Hey, we all know what that means.
Yeah.
Can you turn your speakers down just a hair?
Oh, me? Yep.
That way I don't hear myself through your mic. Thank you.
Yeah.
But
somebody asked me about the flipping of Mueller. He made a reference to Mueller running in previous years in Carolinas, and I believe it was for a congressman seat. But then he said, "Don't worry, I flipped Bob Mueller."
well, somebody in the chat just said that tomorrow
my
is
thing
actually. I'm sorry.
Is I think when he says he flipped Bob Mueller, is he basically flipped him.
Wow. Somebody said tomorrow is actually the anniversary of D-Day. Is that correct? I don't know. I don't have the dates in front of me. Here, dude, somebody. Oh, the chat's just jumping really fast. But somebody said that a prophet said there'll be 9 prophets or whatever. I wish I could. Let me see if I can find it. It's pretty good. Even it said dude. Hopefully I'll find it. I can't find it. Sorry, I apologize. Yes, somebody said D-Day is tomorrow, the anniversary.
Yeah.
Yes, it's tomorrow. Maybe that'll have some that maybe the invasion starts tomorrow. Who knows?
Yeah, that was interesting when he said, and he emphasized invasion. So, and somebody asked in the chat too, why did they ask me if he looked tired? Well, normally and this is based on his experience, when a president leaves office, it's kind of down, but he did look exhausted, like they've been moving him a lot, which I do believe they're moving him.
Oh yeah, they got to keep him isolated.
And just everything that's going on. That whole speech, I mean, you'll definitely have to listen.
Could you somebody said, what's the significance of flipping Mueller? He's the one that held the special he's the one that was in control of that whole investigation against him.
The special counsel, correct.
And it amounted to zero. He didn't find out anything. So if he's flipped them, that's gigantic.
This is my take on when he said flipping Mueller. I believe that when he was assigned special counsel, he was probably approached by JAG, military judge, or the FISA court.
And he said, I'm sorry, and Barron's only 15. That's got to be something else.
Right. Because normally he kind of keeps that boy insulated.
Yes, he keeps him out of the eye.
Yeah. But I believe that during the whole time that Mueller was doing their investigation, because you have to remember, Rosen is still in the DOJ. They may have had Mueller wired if they thought he was playing with them. What better way than that's incriminating evidence if you start spilling the beans to somebody you think's on your side.
Yeah, it would be used if he flipped them, that turns their whole plan upside down, and then they know they attacked a sitting president and set him up. That's treason too. Flipping meaning what? That means he was for the dark side. Now he's working for the white hats. That means he'll probably testify against them people.
Yeah, turn state's evidence, right.
I'm just looking in the chat real quick. Yeah, guys, it's we kind of made the show. We had somebody scheduled tonight, and they actually had to cancel at the last minute, but they're gonna be on Monday night, and I'm gonna put this up real quick. And this is who's gonna be on Monday night. Is where I'm going on the 25th and 26th up to Gettysburg. So let me take us out of here for a minute and see if you can see it. Hold on, Joe. So I'll add us back. So them folks are going to be on Monday night, and we're gonna I'm going to do a promo video of it. Then on Wednesday night we'll have Mark Victor Hansen on again, promoting his book. Then on Friday night we'll have Ken Starr. It will be on our show. That's pretty huge to have that guy on your show. Excited. He just came out with a book. If you don't know who Ken Starr is, he's a prosecutor. He was a judge, and he's the one that was prosecuting Bill Clinton at one time. Pretty big, but probably real big to have on the show, and we are honored to have him on the show. And Patriots Arise from the Dead show up in there. The people that's running it are her and her husband, and let me get their names because I don't want to say the wrong name. Francine and her husband are running the whole thing up there. With Scott McKay is going to be there. Kirsten's going to be there. I'll be there, but I'm not speaking. I would just pass out if I seen 5,000 people and tried to speak one word. They'd be like, "Oh, he fainted." That would be me. Yeah. I'm looking forward to meeting everybody, getting their pictures, sharing ideas, sharing social media with them. So get good intel off of them. It's a Christian conference. But like I said, Scott McKay will be there. Kirsten will be there. A bunch of other speakers and one surprise guest that Kirsten said was going to knock your socks off as a surprise guest. So I don't know who that could be, because I can't wait till we get up there and find out. But
I've never been during this whole process. After listening to his speech right now, more confident.
Really? Elaborate on that.
Just because prior to him giving this speech, I was told 2 bullet points that if he says these 2 items, then we're good. One was the flip, and the other was height references.
Really?
Yes.
So maybe we'll perhaps start seeing some things in upcoming.
Well, and then
one thing I was surprised, Jeff, that I didn't hear: the rallies. They were supposed to start back. We did not hear one word about the rallies.
Right. And you know what else you didn't hear?
Anything about what? Oh yeah, he was running his mouth the other day. Well, the clone Mike Pence. We all know. Well, he came back on Air Force 2 and left out as Sam whatever. It wasn't the same guy. Don't even look like him.
But he never mentioned him once.
No.
Tonight.
Somebody said, could it have been a hologram? No. Jeff had people there at the event. Definitely wasn't a hologram.
And I couldn't get out of him what he flew in on.
All I can tell you is that person I won't use that used God's name as a username is now gone. Okay? I got him. Nobody. Anyway, Sam 23 was the mission that he came back to, came back out of Washington as when he was recalled to Washington, D.C. on Air Force 2. He left that out of there on a SAM mission and never flew as Air Force 2 again. Would I be correct in saying that, however you said, Bob Marley could never become president because she's an anchor baby? Is that true?
That is my understanding, yes.
Where would that fall in secession? Would that make Nancy eligible, or would would it actually be the head of the most senior person in the Republican Party, which would be Grassley, right?
Yeah, but it would go president, vice, speaker, and then pro tem.
Okay, so I've always heard all along, Jeff, that Pelosi is actually our trump card. She's going to be the one to say, "No, stop the rioting. It was illegitimate. All that stuff."
Yeah.
Somebody said Nancy's gone. It's Grassley, but we'll just have to see. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's you can definitely get a sense of shit is starting to speed up.
Yeah, I would definitely have to agree. Like I said, I was looking for all the things I could find wrong. And I'm terrible about that anymore from watching, flashbang up there in the senior living center. I just look for things that are wrong, and maybe
Right.
I should have been looking for things that were right. But you know what I mean. And I didn't pay enough attention to the speech, which, like I said, I'll go back and rewatch so I can get what comms I can get out of it. The only comm I got, his hair was silver. That means buy silver. When his hair is gold, buy gold.
Right. Yeah, I was shocked at how much, and there's ways that you can tell whether somebody's Secret Service, whether somebody is Special Activities Division, and whether it is private security. And it's all based on the lapel pins. You'll see some of them that have the flag with the star in the middle, and then you'll see some of them that they look like a big red patch. The big red patch is Special Activities Division, Delta.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So the same people that it looks like that are protecting Linwood, because them are some awful big security guards he's got. They look like they're special forces. They're that big. Do you know what I mean? Usually when you see Secret Service, they're all around the same size, same cut person. But when Linwood had his security, you're thinking that guy's about 6'8", about 340. He looked like, I mean, there was two of them that big, and that's just the ones I could see from the stage when he was there in Oklahoma. I would think that he's being protected by Delta Force too. Then with some big guys, I think he's being protected by the government because he is helping us in a way.
Right. Yeah, and my understanding is when they stated when they went to a FISA judge, they had permission. Well, I guess you can't even say permission. They were authorized funding from Treasury for certain individuals who normally wouldn't be afforded protection by the federal government were afforded protections.
Absolutely.
So that's why you're going to see a lot of this. And then another thing that was brought up, and I got so much stuff
going on
in my head right now.
I didn't have much chance to dig deep today. I've been on phone calls all day, man. Some days you just have a whole day putting out fires. If you own another business, what you do, some days you spend. I was out of town, got back, and get everything caught up with that business, and I'm just putting fires out, catching up on people, and making appointment, booking people for the show, booking hotel rooms up in Pennsylvania. So, you get a little bit behind. That's why when you said, hey, I think I got some stuff, I was like, oh gosh, I'm glad, because it'd just be questions and answers tonight, because relatively speaking, there wasn't a lot on the boards today that I see.
Right. And I'm still not quite sure on, I've asked 3 or 4 people too about these UN vehicles that everyone's saying that they're seeing. No one's able to really say anything. So there's a lot of compartmentalization going on right now. Even though you have the security clearance to know, you just you don't have a need to know. So everything is just really compartmentalized, which it should be.
They said they told the furniture manufacturer in Carolina to stay tuned. That's another drop. Stay tuned.
Right. Yeah. Why would a furniture, unless you're building coffins? Are you building a lot of coffins?
Warren, go to Mommy's Basement. You don't have to come to our show if you don't enjoy it, Warren. You'll get no ice cream and no sprinkles. Go to Mommy's Basement now. Yeah. Like I said, it's difficult sometimes to come on when there's not a lot going on, but you said you had some stuff. Let's dive more into what do you think the timeline looks like now? And as you said, it looks like the faucet has been turned on, not fully wide open, but it's quit dripping, right. And there's a lot more stuff coming out and happening at a faster rate. Don't you agree?
Yeah, and I had 2 or 3 different people tell me that the Arizona audit is over. It's done.
Right.
And when they present whatever forum it's going to be presented at, the packet information that was gathered by Space Force, which Trump had a nice little drop about Space Force as well. It is they have it down to the building, the floor, and the equipment ID of every piece of equipment that was on that network.
Go ahead, Jeff. Finish that up.
Yep. No, go ahead.
Going back and revisiting the UN vehicles, do we? And somebody said it's not true, but I thought that we manufactured the UN vehicles and they were shipped overseas. Do we manufacture their armored plated vehicles?
I don't know. I've heard that they are actually manufactured in Germany.
Okay.
But I don't know. Until and I had talked to a couple people that had emailed me, send me a picture. I want to see one.
Right. Like then you could determine whether it was one of our vehicles just painted as UN.
Right. But I don't know. There's so much. I don't even want to say misinformation, but there is out there. In this,
Linwood is the king of sending stuff out to stir the pot, so to speak, and right. He does that because he's not. He files lawsuits, but he's directly not 45's lawyer. He works for the corporate, he works for him, but in a different way. You know what I'm saying? They can't pin stuff back on him for what he says. They use him very smartly, I think. And he's the key to it all. Like with the UN stuff, if he'd have put that out and they know it was fake, what's the big deal? And it gets a lot of attention. So it gets your eyes off something else that's going on. I heard they seen him in the UN vehicles in Kentucky. I also say South Carolina. Let me say this. I remember 45 saying something about if you ever bring them UN vehicles to the United States, you will be sad. You will be very sad the day you bring them here. And so that means they're pretty much crush them if they're real.
Like I had told the one person that had sent me an email, if you've seen it, where it's at, call your local sheriff. Because, they have no permission
to be on United States now. They hadn't been called in to help. And,
right. Yeah. What was the other thing? There was something else he had said that kind of blew my hair back. Oh, no, Laura Trump. She said we won the first time, we won the second time, and we're going to win the third time.
That's
So the
crazy.
first time is 2020,
right?
2024, and if you did the bankruptcy, wait, a next term, of course, that would put him in his 80s, but that I don't even think that's where they were going. They were just trying to point out to people that this ain't over yet.
Well, it's been said all along that the military does not want to step in unless they have
No.
to. If they can
No.
get, and I just seen Mike Lindell, he was on there, Jeff showing some more crazy stuff that he paid the hackers to get. Let me call Mike. This is Mike. Talk,
Okay.
Say something. Keep talking.
All right. I'm just trying to go through some of the questions. I've seen some people were asking me. No, I wasn't in the Army. I was in the Navy, but depending on when you were at Fort Knox, we did transfer HVT, high value targets, through Fort Knox from Afghanistan. So that's when I was with somebody else. Question about Jared Kushner. Normally, he always mentions Jared Kushner, and there had been some rumblings that Jared Kushner may not be on the level, but I'm not certain. I don't know him personally, so it's all a calculated guess. Yes, and we did hear about him saying he flipped Mueller. That's important. I think that was dropped for a specific reason. And yeah, the 6.6 and the 6.7, if you look that up in the Law of War manual, that's kind of incitive. And he also did talk about the Normandy invasion right after he did the 6.6 and 6.7.
All right, I'm back.
Alrighty.
That's Mike. Turn your microphones down a little bit. I mean, your speaker down a little bit, please. Mike says he's okay, and whoever gets the free dishware set that guessed that his power went out, you just won yourself a 5-piece. That's what happened. His power went down. He wanted to call me and let everybody in the chat know that he's okay. He's not sick. He feels okay. He had to go get his wife from work in a complete black. And I'm telling you, he lives out in the country. There's no lights. It's pretty dark out there. But he's okay. Thank God. God answered our prayers. He's just fine. We'll see him again tomorrow night. He didn't want to come in on his phone in the dark. So he's okay. Go ahead, Jeff. Finish up what you were saying.
I was just answering some of the people's questions here.
I think you answered this already, but I'll ask you, why did all the flags behind 45 still have gold fringes? Did you answer that? You said because what was going on was committed under that with the gold fringes or something like that.
That's what was explained to me, yes. And people are asking about why is Trump really, to me, he's not pushing the jab.
Right.
But my take on this whole thing is in wartime. Okay, and I'm going to preface this by saying if any of this is true, in wartime you're going to have casualties.
Yes.
And Americans and citizens in every nation, have discernment on what
Right.
they're to do. And it's up to the individual. So if you feel that you need it to protect you, he can't. In my personal opinion, he can't come out and say yes. He can't come out and say no, because this, in my opinion, had all been gamed out. And I think we're going to see how bad Fauci was in the next few
I think
days.
he's going to go up. What were the codes in the 40s written about? The Newberg Code? Is that what it's called?
Nuremberg.
Nuremberg Code. I think
Yeah,
you
that
will
was
see
after
something very
42.
similar, and he'll be up on charges for that.
Well, and I don't think that's going to be Trump that's going to be pushing that.
That will
personally
be United
think
Nations, won't it? Oh, no,
I
the
think it's
World
going to be
Court,
Russia.
right? The World Court.
Yeah, and I think all of this was laid out when Putin had Sergei Lavrov come out and make these 3 bombshell statements about how they're suing the United States in the World Court, at The Hague, for the Nuremberg Code after Adolf. And then they are going to the United Nations Security Council, which is really Russia's only way of anything within the United States, for the 400-ish people that they have said, Congress and certain agencies within the United States, that they've arrested. And there is no proof of any trials. And so Sergei said that they were going to go to the United Nations Security Council and have them ask the United States ambassador why the Americans haven't been given due process, which I find kind of rich, but I understand their play on this. And I think it's just basically to let people know, hey, you guys can't do this.
Right. I bet if I was a betting man like I used to be, I would bet it doesn't last long enough, Biden's presidency, for him to actually go to the G7 and meet with Putin at all.
Well, he's supposed to go to England next week, I believe.
He might never make there.
I don't know why, but I have a sneaky suspicion he's not allowed to leave the continental United States.
Yeah, he would not surprise me if under his on his shoe is an ankle bracelet you can't see.
Right. Yeah, it's really and I noticed too, one of these guys who film, he has a YouTube channel. He's been filming like Marine One, picking up picking up Biden, and I guess he was saying, I haven't seen any of the video, that they are positioning vehicles now to where you really can't see as well as you could. So that's kind of telling.
Well, you can see that just by poor Richard, citizen journalist. You don't see him. He's got a super camera on his phone that'll zoom in from way far away. You don't see him doing that anymore. He's been warned. I mean, they ran him out of town at one time and sent him to Arizona. He was locked in jail for 3 days. That's his own words, with cockroaches.
Right.
Left town and didn't even take a change of clothes with him because he showed a video. I'm at Costco buying new clothes. Why wouldn't you pack? It was either get out of town right now or we're locking you up for a couple of months, because he was exposing too much of the White House. The week he left is the week they put that fence up in the Rose Garden and you can't see anything. And if you don't know, there's a lot of construction vehicles inside the White House right now, still working.
Yeah, and they that's when he did the video off the balcony, was it? where
Yes, that was during that
okay,
time.
yeah, and I think that got a little too close to comfort for him. If they're broadcasting supposedly something on major news media, and this guy's standing out on the fringe of a building, an apartment, and saying, or the hotel, and saying, wait, there's no one in the Rose Garden.
Right. Yeah, so Richard is still making videos, but they're nothing like they were. They're not as informative. I mean, Nancy Drew is doing a good job. That's not her name, but what she uses on Telegram, she's been doing a really good job. A couple weeks back, I want to say 2 weeks back, she was showing how packed the Capitol was when nothing was going on. They were filming like they were filming a movie. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
what we're seeing, a lot of what we're seeing when they say somebody's going to be arrested, probably happened a year ago, like we said before.
Yeah. The other thing that it was interesting that Trump put out is about China owes the United States $10 trillion. There's a significance to that, and that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
We might have some of their gold, and they probably want it back, and we're just going to take it for reparations for the COVID vaccine killing our people.
Well, yeah, and I mean, you got to. I mean, a couple of my businesses have suffered immensely. Thankfully, I didn't have to lay anybody off or anything like that, but it hurts your bottom line. But in the same respect, this is destroyed people's lives. I mean,
it's ruined so many small businesses.
yes.
It's hard to imagine. And as Walmart grew, it ran a bunch of smaller businesses out. I can remember when I was a child. I'm 60, but I remember when I was 8, 9 years old, my mom used to give me money, go up to the butcher shop, go get and write a note, and I'd get the meat and bring it back. Delicatessens, all that kind of stuff. Little local hardware stores were run out of business by Lowe's and Home Depot. It's the big companies that are running the little man out of town, and that's what they're doing with the cancel culture too.
Right. Yeah, and he even said that too. Trump was like, and the cancel culture is going to stop.
Yeah.
Trump. Yeah, Trump did.
You can't keep defunding our police, Jeff, and wondering why crime's going up. That's like taking the fence. Well, I was going to say that's like taking the fence down and don't expect people to come in your yard. Well, that's been done in Texas and Arizona, and you can see how that's working out.
Yeah, and I wonder, they're scheduling DC Capitol Police are scheduling an exercise tomorrow, from what they were saying.
Why would they even do that in these times?
Well, right. But here's the other thing. Do you know how much money that cost for a weekend to have everybody there? I mean, granted, we write checks like it's water, but we're going to have to watch that close, because I think there is something else afoot with that.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get some film of what's going on up there. You just wonder why they would wait. But they waste, like you said, money on the stupidest of things now. But I'm wondering, all these checks that they're talking about and all these trillions of dollars. Well, if the United States Inc. is bankrupt, they're writing checks that are, excuse the expression, ass and cash.
Right.
Them laws and them programs will never come into fruition because there's no money for them. You know what I mean?
And here there was 2 other things he mentioned too. He went into detail about Mark Zuckerberg that kind of shocked me.
Right.
And how he made it a point to call him out. And the other thing was Uh, mhm.
Yeah, William Barr we found is a black hat. Okay, he's not a white hat. Isn't that correct?
I have a picture that was sent to me. They wouldn't confirm nor deny, but it looked like his hands were behind his back.
And how about the at Biden's inauguration? That one senator had his hands behind his back, and he was in cuffs. Hillary didn't pass out that day getting in the van. She was shackled and cuffed in the front. They drug her ass in the van. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that I can't wait to watch this movie.
They
I
said
really
that. Well,
can't.
rumor has it it's going to become a movie. You know that what was it, the ex Treasury Secretary? He had like
Oh,
eight.
Mnuchin.
Yeah, had like 8 number one hit movies.
Yeah,
He
he
knows
was
how
a
to make the
director out in
movie. He knows how to
Hollywood.
set the stage, and it's going to be the best movie that's ever. People say, "Oh, the stimulus checks coming from Nassar." No, Nassar is completely different. Okay, but we just thought it was funny that the person signing the check was not work for the Treasury, but was a bankrupt judge for the Treasury.
Right.
And she was like a GS 11, as high as you can go with the ranking with GS. I'm not sure what that is, but she held that position, and her name was on the checks. Normally, you get a check from the federal government. The treasurer signs the check. You know,
Or
it's
the president.
stamped
Yep.
on there, but not a
Right.
federal employee.
Right.
I don't think that's ever been done before. A federal employee
Not that I can
signing
remember.
checks.
And one of my good friends who's at a deputy level, he received a check, and he actually he took it. He walked it across the street before they moved him out of DC to Treasury to make sure it was a legitimate check, because he didn't even recognize the woman who signed it or had the stamp.
Lots of I had to look it up. I wanted to know who the lady was. Do you know what I mean? Who is this
Yeah.
lady signing my check? Because
Yeah,
the
she
first
was
one
like,
didn't have her signature on it. When I got the one that said Trump's name on it, it didn't have that signature on it. And I wanted
right,
to know who she was, so I looked it up. She's the bankrupt's attorney, or the person in charge of bankruptcy for the Federal Reserve. That just makes me. I mean, for the Treasury. Now, why would you? Why would it just? It makes sense, but doesn't make any sense. It means they're
right,
bankrupt. You know
right.
what I mean? And they could
Well,
have funded that with the money that they got from under the Vatican. You know, all the checks. And,
oh,
and,
and
and
it would be my contention that Trump, can't control that side. The only thing he can control right now would be being commander in chief. That's going to be
right,
his limitations, unless they have already uh, decided military wise, or a federal judge. Well, here we go again. It could be a military judge advocate general who makes that decision. I mean, we're in such uncharted territory. It's crazy, and it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
right, absolutely. Bill Barr's brother gave Epstein the teacher job in New York. Wow. Go on to Rumble and search JFK Jr.'s son. But anyways, yeah, that made no sense. And know that our treasury is now backed by gold, silver, and precious metals, like it hasn't been for many, many years. And people say, well, the IRS, if you go to DC, the IRS is closed down. If you go and look up the IRS in DC on your phone, it'll say close. If you go to the Capitol and look it up on your phone, it'll say close. It will for the White House as well. So, I mean, if they're even, you can call it, it might say one thing, but when you go on your phone and look, and Washington doesn't say Washington, D.C. no more on your phone, on Google Maps, or on Siri, it just says Washington. There's no more D.C. with it. So things are changing without you seeing them. I mean, little by little, just like when
Right.
they bring in the lookalikes it's you've seen them for so long, you think they're the real person until they put up pictures side by side.
Photos,
And then
correct.
you can say, wait a minute, his forehead's bigger, this one, and the eyes don't line up, the ears don't line up. Hillary's a foot and a half shorter. And you're like, wait a minute, if they're lying about this and trying to deceive us with this, what else are they trying to deceive us with? You know?
Right. And I think it was last night or the night before on CNN, they had James Clapper on. And so I immediately had texted somebody that I know who used to be in meetings with him. And he had stated, yeah, that was James Clapper, but he was definitely subdued. He wasn't acting himself.
Yeah. I imagine a lot of tribunals are going on that we don't know about. I'm going to get some more intel from Kirsten W tomorrow, and then we're going to just do a small show and promote the event up in Gettysburg next month. Well, I would have it to go up there and get a room during the reenactments when the rooms are doubled in price.
Right.
It's normally like $89. It's $200 for a room right now. Even with my discount, 2 nights were $307.
And I'm trying to figure out too why Steve Bannon keeps talking about this August 15th. There's something involved. There's something behind it.
I think Bannon is either deceiving people or it could be the truth, because I remember when they were talking, I watched it over and over, and they kept saying, well, all that should turn over by then, and that should turn over by then. Geez, do we have time? And that's when Bannon slipped out. We got till August 15th for the inaugural.
Right.
And he did it on purpose. He's a pretty smart guy. He was a political advisor at one point for President Trump. He worked for Breitbart. Who did he work for? He was.
I think
Politico
I think
or somebody like that.
Either Breitbart or Politico.
He was a very high-ranking person. Knew about politics, and he was used for a reason. And then Trump said, "Well, Sloppy Steve's got to go." He got the nickname too. But if he upset Trump so much, why would he still be working on his behalf? You got to know things got a purpose. He's still there. And everybody says, gosh, he looks like, he needed a haircut 2 years ago. He said he will not get a haircut until the whole thing's flipped, and then he'll get a haircut. I actually met him once. I was doing Uber and Lyft, and it was raining one night, and I live in Tidewater, and I went into Kings Mill to pick somebody up. And that's a $1 million houses. So I go to pick somebody out at a condo over there, and out walks this guy. And I always pictured him like this, a drunk. I don't know why.
Right.
Here comes this guy out with his kid, and he has a mixed drink in his hand. And he says, "Did you have trouble getting in the gate?" I says, "No, I just told him I was an Uber driver and they let me in." He goes, "They gave me hell." And he was just raising all kind of hell. It wouldn't let me in. It's my friend's apartment. My friend's place, and they wouldn't let me in. I had to get him to call 3 different people to let me in the gate. Rah, rah, rah. And if you meet somebody like that and you know who it is, you'd never want to reveal So and not if you want a tip, you know what I mean? So I only gave him a ride right out the gate to the restaurant. I think he tipped me $20. And I didn't say nothing about him having a drink in the car or anything like that. But I did meet him. I knew who he was. You know what I mean? You see that guy, you wouldn't forget what he looks like. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I always pictured, if I seen him in person, for some reason, I think he's going to have like a whiskey in his hand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever he had a mixed drink in his hand. It was pretty funny. It's a true story, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. When you speak with Ken Starr off air or whatever, when you guys get your thing, you'll have to ask him if he knows Admiral Denny Blair.
I will.
Because that's who I work for. And
I was told in advance when I refer to him, call him Judge or Your Honor.
Yes.
Don't call him Ken.
Correct. Yeah, he's a stickler.
And send that to me in a message so I don't forget.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Telegram.
Yeah.
Because I definitely will. I think we have him booked for Friday on the show. He's got a new book coming out. Then we have Mark Victor Hansen. He might be moving to Friday as well. I think his grandson was born a little premature, and they're at the hospital, so I might have 2 shows in one day. I think that I have Ken on Thursday, and I have Mark Victor Hansen on Friday.
You know, and I would just like to know what his thoughts are on the Bushes.
Oh, I'm going to be. I'm going to do a little screening first, with him. What can I ask him? What I can ask him, of course. I don't know if he'll want to talk about the Clinton case or not. What he wants to share. I always like do a pre-interview with people like that to make sure we don't go out of
like
bounds.
A baseline.
Or send me what you want. Ask. They do the same thing for talk show hosts. And that way we can stay within bounds with him. Don't get him upset. Because Mark Victor Hansen, guy that sold 500 million books, all the Chicken Soup books, he's the one that got me with him. And then we get the Hollywood producer. I'm still trying to firm up his date. So we got some big people coming on our show. I quit trying to understand it a little while back. It's not about me. It's about the people that watch our show and staying with them. And letting them know it's about them that we do the show. It's about them, the Froganites, the people that we're trying to get the word out to what's going on in the world today. He said, ask him about Epstein. What do you know about Epstein?
Okay, this is I'll say a theory. Do I think he's alive? 65% tells me yes. I believe that on January 6th, there was a plan that on the House floor, when Trump was going to go to the Capitol, I have a sneaky suspicion because there were 3 people that I knew that were on a different type of detail at the Capitol, and they're not Capitol Police. And one of them had slipped up and said they were doing a HVT, high value target. And I have a sneaky suspicion when they were going to start the Electoral College process, they were going to bring Epstein out for some reason. I don't know why, but that whole time, because like I said, as soon as I seen Trump behind bulletproof glass, the 2 people I was with, I said, shit's about ready to hit the fan. And they were like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, he's behind bulletproof glass. Trust me. He's got gloves on. Something's about ready to happen. They thought I was a crackpot, but then the wheels come off the bus. And here's the other thing. When I come home that night, and when I heard that Congress was back in session, I'm like, how in the hell is this possible? You had probably one of the top 4 crime scenes ever in the United States. And there was not one FBI jacket, not one Secret Service jacket, not one Capitol Police investigative jacket on the ground doing any type of the whole damn city was a crime scene.
Absolutely.
But no, we're just going to go ahead and bring everybody back in like it didn't happen. I don't know. Something tells me that he's alive. And I know if people say this person's alive, this person, I don't know. But so, you're normally pretty good with gut instinct. And when something smells like rotten fish, it's probably rotten fish. And that tells me that there's a reason why Giselle Maxwell isn't getting what she wants. because somebody else already flipped before her.
Absolutely, but she actually and was his boss.
Right.
And she's the one that gave him the encryption codes to all the Blackberries around the world, so they knew who was trafficking all the children. Um, and people are, it just goes back to the other day when they're blowing up tunnels and submarine bases under Disneyland. Everybody's like, nah, that yeah, and the tunnels that they blew up also led to a clone factory right near Disney World. I would hope Disney doesn't never open again, and or if it's open, it gets closed down, because we all know the three-letter agency bought it for pennies on the dollar of the land to open it up for broke Walt Disney, with the what is it, the something club that he had, or 66 or 33.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
The 33
I think
club,
it was.
right?
Something along
And
those
it
lines.
was it was like $10,000 or $20,000 to join, and what it was, a meeting place for the Illuminati is what it was. Yeah,
Right.
unfortunately, Disney is still open. They probably need to be taken down like a rabbit dog. You know what I mean?
Well, didn't when Walt died, didn't they like cryogenically freeze him or some crazy shit?
Yeah, I think so. They did some weird stuff with him after he had
Right.
passed. And
So none of this to me is a stretch.
the stretch is, who's to say if they froze him, they didn't freeze Howard Hughes?
Right.
He was a genius.
Right.
Like, just like Tesla, a genius. Trump's uncle's best friend. You think maybe he's got some of that technology? You betcha he does. So much has been hidden from us, and we don't know. Like we said before, that the healing beds and medication in the next, probably I'd say in 2 years, will cease to exist, but just very little one might be around. But everything will be healed, from your high blood pressure to your heart attack, to heart problems, to cancer, to diabetes, will be healed in the healing beds. I heard they just cut the hospitals, everything they had, and put healing beds in. You hope they got them in mass production, sort of like they did all of them in machines to help people breathe. You would hope so, but that,
Well, there's a lot of people asking about the IRS, and I don't know too much, but what I can tell you is, with my companies, with the EIDL, the disaster loan. So with all my companies combined, the companies were eligible for 8.6 million.
Right.
Okay. And at 3.25% interest. So to me, that's like free money.
Right.
Because now they did the or not the inflation of it, but they raised the levels, and so I was able to apply for up to 3 times as much. The first round for the EIDL, it took me 2 weeks to get, and this time I did the paperwork on April 14th or 24th, and we haven't heard nothing. And what they are doing is they're requiring transcripts from the IRS. Well, if DC is empty, I mean, granted, there are other major IRS facilities, or if there's something structurally going on with the IRS, this would make sense. But in the meantime, our business is hurting. Now, could this be what, 17 says, you're going to have to experience pain? This could be it as well, struggling or borrowing expensive money to keep everything afloat.
Absolutely. I had a loan too through PPE, and it said, it's a forgivable loan if you fill out the paperwork. It wasn't a lot of money, and
Right.
it was only like $1,700 or something. And
Right.
the bank has never got in touch with me, nor the person that filed the loan for me that said that they would be sending me a letter. All I had to do was sign, and it would be sent back to the IRS and just forgiven. I've never heard a thing about the loan, and that's been over a year. I want to say almost about 8 months ago. I haven't heard a thing. It isn't like I'm going to go chasing them down at this point. No.
Right.
And myself, I haven't filed taxes yet. Haven't even filed for an extension. I'm a true believer in the IRS. Our money goes straight to the Rothschilds. I'm not giving them another dime. Forget about it. Forget about it. I'm not giving you
This
any
is
more
probably the funniest comment I've seen so far.
What's that?
This guy said, Jeff talks slow, and damn, I'm from the South.
He's very particular about what he says. Somebody said, ask you about the Iranian missile boats that had this. They said it was missiles at first, but it looked like it was a ship that had high speed boats on it. I don't know if there were missiles. I don't know.
What are they? I'm guessing they're referring about the one that mysteriously sunk.
Yes.
Okay. So when the U.S. Navy goes through the Straits of Hormuz, which is the segment of water between Iran, Kuwait, you're basically at ship's quarters. You're at GQ. And the Iranians love to put these speedboats out and antagonize war vessels. And to me, it looked like these were the same type of boats, that almost like a cigar boat. They're very fast, very maneuverable. And I am not, yes, I do believe something is going on in South America. But I'm sure either Russia or us took them out. One of our subs. Mike has a blackout.
Well, guys, if you guys have just joined us late or anything, Mike's okay. We were concerned because I talked to him at 8:30, and everything was fine, and he didn't start the show with me. I tried to call, and then people, of course, in the chat don't believe I tried to call him, so I tried to call him again and let it ring. What, guys? Wouldn't you agree? At least 15 times, and he didn't answer. So he called me on my phone while we were doing a show just about 15 minutes ago. Power went out at his house right as the show started, and he had to go get his wife from work. And he lives a little bit in the country out there where he lives. When I went down there last week, I was at his house. It's pretty dark. There's no street lights. So yeah, he's fine. Everything's fine. He'll be on again tomorrow. So don't worry. Don't get your panties in a bunch. He'll be back tomorrow.
And if Kirsten W is watching, 你好吗？真上你很高兴。
Kirsten will be on with me tomorrow. We're doing a short show just to promote the event.
I like her. She gets beat up, but I'll
tell you what, these people running that show up there, and then I talked to the lady for about 45 minutes on the phone. They adore Kirsten W. They say I said she's pretty brash. She goes, well, before I put her on the air and we go live every time, I said, you can't curse, Kirsten. You can't scream at the people in the chat. And she said she agrees to be on her best behavior.
My first time that I went to China was preparation for the Olympics, and I love Asian people. Once, and I know once Americans experience foreign nationals and they realize how good we have it,
right?
It's a different appreciation.
Well, she was telling me, she was brought up over there and then moved to the United States at a younger age. But like, if I'm talking, like we interrupt each other, that's not done over there. Absolutely not allowed.
No.
Especially a woman interrupting a man. That don't happen over there. And she explained that to me. She goes, we're in America. We're live on the show. I'll go ahead and let you interrupt me. It's okay. Like, okay.
No,
and the more I talk to her, the more I just adore Like I'll tell everybody now she's taking me under her wing, and I'm going places I never thought I'd go. But
Right.
it's just funny because I know how to deal with her. At first, I was like, "What have I got to talk about the tails?" You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
But she's absolutely not the person you think she is. She's misunderstood, and
Yes.
you got to know that's her third language, English. And she was brought up in that society over there differently
Correct.
than we were brought up here. Okay, it's totally different. And dealing with people in the chat, she's screaming at him. Scott does that. I said, not like that. You can't do that.
Right.
You got to let them know you love them. I love all my people in the chat, even the people that hate me. I love you anyway. You bring 4 more people
Right.
to the show every time you hate on me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she has great intel, that she get from that guy. Gosh, I can't remember his name right off the bat, but she has a guy she brings on Thursdays, and he's got great intel. He's he does computer security. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
In other words, he's got all Wiener's computer hard drive. He's got all the files on everybody.
And you make a couple. Well, one
there's
guy
his name right there.
Yeah.
And he's got intel.
One guy that I served with and worked with, he had seen Biden's laptop, basically kind of like a discovery phase, and it was so bad when he got to the 5th picture, he told him he couldn't do it. They had to get somebody that specializes in that.
Yeah, I heard that was some of the reason things are running behind is what they found in the tunnels under the White House. The special forces guys had to go directly out of there and be brought to the med beds. It wasn't medication. They had to DC all that stuff that they seen in the tunnels and then bring more guys in and get therapy, get them back to the med beds because it was horrific what they found in the tunnels with the children and stuff. Rats, roaches, pieces and parts of bodies.
I can't even imagine. I mean, and what people have to understand too is these guys are going to carry this burden with them the rest of their lives.
Yeah,
I mean,
the med beds will fix that, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff that I've done that I can't be in a room where if somebody walks in, if they have a backpack.
I understand.
Because instantly I'm thinking IED or something. And, it's just the way it is. And you find different coping mechanisms to deal with it. But
you never sit with your back to the door, right?
And when I go in somewhere, I am looking at exits. If I need to jump out a window or
Let me
whatever.
ask you something. Maybe you do know, maybe you don't. But when not the fake guy, but when 45 speaks, they put up these 2 barriers near the stage, and some of them they'll have whatever on it to cover up what they're actually doing. Is that where they can hit a button and the stage collapses and it'll just fall to the ground? You see them wherever the president speaks. It's just not this president.
On the opposite
they're
sides
like about
of the
2.5 foot tall, and they're on both sides of the stage, and they kind of face like this.
Oh, are you referring to the teleprompters?
No, the teleprompters are high. These are low to the ground, and they look to be about 2.5 foot tall. And they're always, when Trump speaks, they're right there, and they're at an angle below, like 2 feet below that. It's almost like there's a trap door or something there they're trying to hide, or maybe agents can come from under the stage. I don't know. There's something to it because they had to put them up at CPAC, and it took them over an hour to install them. I have an idea. They kept cutting away when they had to do real important stuff, but then they'd come back and there'd be more and more stuff added to make it look like it was going to be a banner on the stage, but it was really something else. It makes you wonder: is it a trap door for the Secret Service? Is it where there's an escape through there for the president if something happens? You know what I mean?
Yeah, what I can say is the Secret Service is very good at learning from their mistakes. And well, naturally, there's always a threat on whoever sits that office. But if, like in today's age, there is a definite heightened state of alertness.
Somebody said they're speakers. No, they're not. They're not bulletproof glass. Why would they shoot at his feet? It's I want to say it's 2 feet high, and they're on both sides of the stage.
I'll have to go.
6 foot tall. I'll tell you what. I'll get a picture, send it to you, and I'll circle what I'm talking about. It's got to be.
I have an idea of what it is.
It might be top secret or whatever. It's got something to do with his security, because when people speak, it's not there. When the president speaks, it's there. And
they've been doing that for about 15 years, I believe.
Yeah, so it's something I was always curious about. Somebody said it could be bulletproof boards for him to duck behind. Makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense. They're not very big. They're not very thick. They're always black in color and then covered up with a banner, either the campaign banner or the state he's in or something like that.
Now, I can tell you, when he was on the campaign trail for his first term in 2016, I did help work a detail, because what happens is he had the Traveler, they have their inner circle of agents, and then they will ask the regional guys to kind of backfill, and then anybody else that, as long as you meet the Secret Service cut, I guess you could say.
Somebody said, Jeff, they could be blast barriers for the explosion.
Yeah, I think they're along the lines of, if it detects something, they're like huge airbags.
Okay.
It would
expand to protect him. There you go. That makes more sense than anything.
Correct. And without getting into too much detail, I believe that's what it is. Or, kind of like they have shot spotters where they know the direction along those lines.
What people don't realize, the technology our police department uses, when I'm guarantee it's used there too, in a smaller setting, is that there's microphones set up that are for the Secret Service. Our police department in our town uses them too. If a gun goes off, they know what direction, how far it is from them, and what caliber weapon it is just on the first shot.
Yeah, that's what they call shot spotter.
Yeah, they use it in our town in troubled areas. That way the police can respond quicker. And everybody's like, wow. I said that they've had that for years. It's just become available to the police force here probably in the last 5 years.
And you'll see them on traffic light post. It'll kind of like look like a camera, but it's a kind of like a microphone. And they're pretty accurate. It can get it within a block of where the shot comes from. But if I were to guess, that is what I'm sure. There's a couple things that encompass it, but if it detects something, a bag would kind of insulate.
That makes more sense than any of it. Collapsing stage doesn't make a lot of sense, because
you wouldn't want to hurt the damn guy.
No, the stage collapse, you're gonna break his leg. You know what I mean? All right, man, we'll get on about 1 hour and 33 minutes.
Okay.
We'll call it a night. Man, I want to appreciate you jumping on and helping me out.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Absolutely.
And I'm sure Mike appreciate you coming on too, Jeff. It's always a pleasure to speak with you guys.
Yeah.
All right. So, guys, if we want to help one person tonight, we feel like we did our job. Know that it's a place you can come share your thoughts, your idea, your intel without being ridiculed. Okay, guys? Once again, Mike's fine. The power went out at his house. He'll be back on tomorrow night. There's no problems. Okay. So know that. And we'll see you tomorrow night. We love you and talk to you later.
God.